Hello everyone, welcome back. We are done with forecasting. We come to the next topic, which is location planning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this chapter like I'm going to do this paper like you are setting up a plant. And if you are setting up a plant for something, what are you going to do or how is it going to follow? Before that, I hope you all are indoors. I hope you all are safe. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves, staying away from crowds. Do not go out if absolutely, only go out if and only if absolutely necessary. Otherwise, please do not step out. Please stay as indoors as possible. Yes. So like I said, I'm going to do this paper as if you are setting up a plant. So if you are setting up a plant, let's assume that you are a shoe manufacturer and you are going to manufacture shoes. So you are going to manufacture sports shoes and leather shoes, let's say everything together. So if you're going to manufacture shoes, step one is understand your data. So you did a study of your population, which is wherever you are going to sell or whatever kind of people you are going to sell to. After you did a study to understand what kind of shoe sizes do people wear, what colors do they like, you got data. This data was of different types, where when you're talking about people's foot sizes, it was numerical. But when you're talking about the color of shoes that people like, do you like black, do you like brown? If it's sports shoes, do you like multicolored sports shoes, or you like a monotonous sports shoe like black and white and that's it? Depending on that, you have data. Now that you have data, the next question in hand is, fine. Now you know what the demands could be. So depending on those demands, I'm going to predict what my needs could be in the future. And I did predict my needs. I predicted my needs in the future and I realized that I'm going to need a certain number of units in the next year. So let's say I'm going to require 12,000 units in the next year. Okay. So now the next question in hand is, where do you want to set up your plant? And that is where we come to a section called location planning. What is location planning? When you want to set up a plant, the first question is, where do you want to set it up? Like, see, right now, I'll give you a very current example. Now that the pandemic is going on, I hope y'all are economics is taking a nosedive everywhere. And I hope y'all have been reading that a lot of companies, right from Apple to Samsung to major producers, are walking out of China because of whatever has happened and their attitude towards it. So whatever happened is not exactly their fault, because we've dealt with viruses like this before, like the COVID parent, like the COVID family, the entire COVID family, whether it is SARS or whether it is MERS, we've dealt with all of this before, right? From I think the MERS, I think SARS. I don't think we were alive when SARS was there, but when MERS was there, I think we were alive, which is also, I think, which is also, I think, one of the roots of the COVID family. So when such viruses had come, we survived through it. But people's attitude towards it were different. The countries from where they originated, they took responsibility for it and they did something about it. While on the other hand, when you look at China, A, they don't really care about what the world is thinking. B, they are sending fake test kits. They are sending out fake wrong statistics. They are encroaching on every different country where they share a border with, whether it's India or whether it's Nepal. They are just pushing themselves everywhere. Tibet. So the thing is that people are pissed. So when people are pissed, the global economy is deciding that now we are not going to produce out of China anymore. Because everything you call for literally comes from China. Right from my phone, it's from China. I've called for a wireless charger, it's from China. I've called for a writing pad, which has also come from China. They're all produced in China. And because they are all produced in China, the problem is people want to walk out of China. So now that people are walking out of China, every country wants to grab the opportunity. Every country wants to grab the opportunity of, I want this producer. So Samsung is moving to India. Apple may or may not move to India because we have Mr. Donald Trump, who is uh, threatening him in a way or two. But anyway, but Samsung has said that they will come to India and they will produce out of India now. That might give us a lot of jobs. Having said that, now that Samsung decides to come to India, the next question is where in India? Now, what do you mean by where in India? Now, every country functions in a certain way, like India or the US, any country for that matter. There is a center and then there is a state. Once the center says something, the state has to agree with it. The state doesn't really have a choice. But if a state decides to implement a certain rule, the state can implement a certain rule. For example, taxes. We've now come to a centralized tax system, but there was a time when there was VAT, there was service charges that would vary from state to states and city to cities, which is when Bombay in general was becoming extremely expensive to produce. But at the same time, Bombay is a place where that has a market. You can produce here and sell here. You don't need to go anywhere outside. At the same time, Bombay has unlimited resources, whether you talk about roads or water, electricity. Bombay has no shortage of this. But if you decide to produce in the outskirts, let's say if I decide to take my plant out to Kolhapur or out to Vapi. So initially when Bombay was expensive, everybody was producing out of Vapi. Vapi is the Gujarat border where you get all the taxes and the benefits of Gujarat. And then you can immediately transport to Bombay, because Bombay is like what I think 3 hours tops. I don't know. But yeah, somewhere around 3.5 hours tops, you can reach Bombay. So because of this, people used to produce out of Gujarat and then sell in Bombay. But why so? Taxes are low, electricity is cheaper, and roads and water is available. But then the thing is that the only problem is you have to produce there and then transport it to Bombay to sell it. So that was the only one problem with it. So what I as a producer am going to do is that I'm going to find out what are my pros and cons. Well, if I produce out of Bombay, everything is good, taxes are high. If I produce out of Gujarat, well, I will have to transport a little, spend a little more on transport, but then my taxes will be very low. And plus, let's say the Gujarat state government has given different benefits to the Industrial Development Corporation. Like every state has an IDC, which is Maharashtra has the MIDC, which is the Maharashtra State Industrial Development Corporation. There must be a GIDC. There must be, let's say, a RIDC, which is Rajasthan Industrial Development Corporation. So every state will have its own industrial development corporation, because every state wants producers to come to them and produce in their state, so that we generate revenue, so that we get jobs, so that the in and out into that state increases. Now, depending on what is expensive, what is cheaper, you are going to decide on locations. We are also going to do that, but our decision of locations is not going to be as scattered as whatever I told you. We are not going to consider so many different factors, or rather we are going to consider so many different factors, but we are going to boil these factors down into 2 basic and simple factors. Factor number 1, what is your fixed cost? And factor number 2, what is your variable cost? We are going to break our entire understanding of costs into 2 things, a fixed and a variable. Now, you all are commerce students, you all are doing costing. I don't need to tell you what a fixed cost and a variable cost is, but just in case somebody has still a doubt, I will try and explain it in my own way. Suppose you rent a house. Now, whether you live in that house or you don't live in that house, you have to pay rent. There is no 2 ways about it. So if you rent the house today, stay in that for 2 days, and then the rest of the 28 days of the month, you don't live there, you still have to pay. Like right now during the pandemic, we are facing this also as a major issue. A lot of people have left for their native places. For example, me too. I came here before the lockdown, and ever since then I've been here only. I haven't gone back to Bombay because the situation in Bombay is not that great, plus transport is not that easy. So a lot of people have left Bombay and metro cities and come to their hometowns because it's safer here. It is you don't have to pay for, your resources are cheaper as compared to what it is in Bombay, and so on. So what is happening now is that if you've rented a house and you've left it, you can't tell the person that you rented it from that I'm not living there for a month. sorry, I can't pay you rent. That's not his fault. Now, because it is the pandemic, a lot of owners have been considerate and they've been cutting the rent into half, or they've said that, pay me later, pay me like after all this comes back to normal. Pay me full, but pay me later. Some are saying pay me now, pay me half, or pay me 70%, pay me 75%, and so on. That is secondary. My question to you is, if you've rented a house today, whether you use the house or you don't use the house, you have to pay. I'll give you another example. You bought a machine in your plant. Now, all of us know that businesses don't start with hard cash. Businesses start with loans. So if you've loaned some money out of a bank and you've bought a certain machine. Now, machines in these day and ages with these automated machines comes in lakhs and crores. Let's say you've purchased a machine for 10 lakh rupees. My question to you is, you bought the machine for 10 lakh and then the pandemic happened. Are you going to tell the bank, I'm sorry, the pandemic happened, I can't pay you the EMI for the machine? You can't. You have to pay the EMI. You don't have a choice. It's not the bank's fault. Or let go of the pandemic. You suddenly decide that you don't want to produce in this month. So the machine has reached you. It is sitting there. The bank has sanctioned your loan. The loan has gone to the person you've procured the machine from. And now can you tell the bank, sorry, I can't pay an EMI. I'm not producing this month. No, the bank doesn't care. Because now that EMI is a fixed cost. Rent mostly is a fixed cost, or overheads is a fixed cost. This you have to pay irrespective. Yes, but if you live in the house, you are going to use electricity. If you use electricity, the unit reading will increase. If the unit reading increases, then you have to pay the extra electric bill. But if you don't live in that house, which means the meter was off throughout the entire month, yes, now you will say, sir, but there is a fridge in my house and whatever. I'm talking about condition where it is a production plant, where if I'm not producing, everything can be shut. So you shut off everything for a month. Is the meter reading going to run? No. If the meter reading doesn't run, then you don't have to pay the extra electric bill. So electric bill is something which is a variable cost. You use it, you pay. It's also called pay per use. Per use, pay. So every per unit you use, you will pay. While this is a fixed, this you will have to pay. So what I do is, I understand the different locations that I have in front of me where I can produce, and I break down their costs into two basic costs. One is a fixed and the other is a variable cost. If it is a cost that once has to be paid, and then irrespective whether you use the resource or not, you have to pay it, you can't get it back, then it's a fixed cost. If the cost is something that you can pay per use, then it's a variable cost. Sir, how can you put it in a production plant? I'll tell you. Machines bought or place rented or finances picked up to buy the machine or rent the place are all fixed. You have to pay them. But if you are running the machine, then you require raw material. If you buy raw material, then you will have to pay. If you don't run the machine, you don't need raw material, you don't need to pay. That becomes a variable cost. So what I do is, I understand all the costs of running the organization. I break them down into two parts. One is going to be a fixed and the other is going to be a variable. And my decision is going to be only and only on a total cost basis. And that is, if I produce X units, then my total cost will be given by a fixed cost plus a variable cost into the number of units that I am producing. And this is going to be the total cost of production. You don't produce, it's okay. Then you don't have to give variable cost, but the fixed cost still remains. You have to pay the fixed cost. There is no two ways about it. And this is what my entire questioning line is going to, or my entire decision criteria is going to pivot around. what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the total cost and then understand producing where is a better option and producing where is not a good option. Now, like I said, in the 2008 and the 2012 syllabus was bonkers. They just put a lot of random things that even they didn't know what to do about. Then they started reducing them. So in the 2008 syllabus, there were, I think, 2 or 3 questions in this. But now, like I said, they've removed and they've only kept 1 question. And that's the only question that we are going to do. But I'm going to do that question in a lot of different ways. So I want you to pay attention. So initially, I just want you to play along with me into whatever I'm doing. How did I take that decision? How did I decide this? How did I decide that? Is none of your business. You're just going to sit down and understand what the mechanism of what I'm doing. Why I did it, I will tell you once I finish the entire question. So to begin with, location planning. Now, like I've told you before, that we are only going to do questions from the module because that is the only thing that they ask. And if I feel like there is a chapter that requires a little bit of extra knowledge, I will definitely discuss basic questions from there and then come to your institute material. But yes, like I told you, we'll be doing each and every question from the institute material. Location planning. According to me, in location planning, it's question number 1. In your modules, it will be page 43, question number 15. And I've written both for a reason that your institute material, God knows whoever created it and how he or she created it, it just haphazardly put, and that is why I've made it very clear. Having said that, might be people, if you have a printed material with you, there might be people who've gotten an old edition. What I have done is I've pulled this off the net and then written down the page number and question number. In some new material, they've updated something because of which the page numbers must be shifted a little. So if you don't find it on page number 43, check like a 42, 41, 40 and so on, or check like a 45, 46 also front back. Having said that, a company is planning to manufacture a household cooking range and has to decide on the location of the plant. Okay, fine, is what we are planning to deal with right now. 3 locations are being considered, namely Patna, Ranchi and Dhanbad. The fixed costs of the 3 locations are estimated to be 30 lakh, 50 lakh and 25 lakh per annum respectively, and the variable costs are 300, 200 and 3000 and 350 per unit. The expected sales price of the cooking range is 700 per unit. Find out. What do you want me to find out? Well, I want you to find out the range of annual production or sales volume for which each location is most suitable. Which one of the 3 locations is the best location at the production or sales volume of 18,000 units? So let me come back to the question. And the solution that I've given you is your institute's solution. So when I come back to the question says that a company is planning to manufacture a household cooking range and has to decide on 3 locations, and that is Patna, Ranchi and Dhanbad. The fixed costs of the 3 locations are estimated to be 30 lakh, 50 lakh and 25 lakh per annum. Okay. So 3 locations, Patna, Ranchi and Dhanbad. I'm looking at their fixed and variable costs. So let me get out the big question and bring in a smaller question. So let me write down the 3 locations first, and the 3 locations are Patna, Ranchi and Dhanbad. So it's Patna, Ranchi and Dhanbad. The fixed costs of the 3 locations are estimated to be 30 lakh, 50 lakh and 25 lakh per annum. So fixed cost. Fixed cost for Patna is going to be 30 lakh. I'm bad at this, so let me count 1,000, 10,000, lakh, 30 lakh. Perfect. Ranchi is 50 lakh and Dhanbad is 25 lakh respectively. Fantastic. If you notice, Dhanbad has the lowest fixed cost. Then produce in Dhanbad. No, I understand, but there's another problem with it. And there are variable costs involved. What are the variable costs? The variable cost in Patna is 300. The one in Ranchi is 200. And Dhanbad has been missing from here. And Dhanbad is 350 rupees. Dhanbad is 350 rupees. And this will always happen in every question. What do I mean? Look at the fixed in Patna is the central. Or let's come from Ranchi. Ranchi, the fixed is highest and the variable is the lowest. Correct? Patna, the fixed is in between the two. The variable is also in between the two. Dhanbad, the fixed is the cheapest. The variable is the most expensive. And this is what you will face in every question. See, if in a particular location fixed is also low and variable is also low, then there is no point in question. Sorry. Then what's the point? If the fixed is also low and the variable is also low, then what's the point? Then that is the best location. If the fixed is also high and variable is also high, why would I pick that? So you will have to deal with these questions when and only when the fixed is high, variable is low, and for whatever location the fixed is low, the variable will be high. How do you decide in between the three which one is the best location? So question number 2 actually is very simple. Question number 2 says that which one of the three location is the best for a sales or a production or a sales volume of 18,000 units. Simple. 18,000, no, put 18,000 in this. So the total cost of producing 18,000 units in Patna is going to be 300 into 18,000 plus the 30 lakh. Ranchi will be 200 into 18,000 plus the 50 lakh, and Dhanbad will be 350 into 18,000 plus the 25 lakh. Whichever is the cheapest is going to be the best. So answering that question is a cakewalk. The problem is answering the first question. What does the first question say? Well, the first question says the range of annual production or volume for which each location is suitable. So you know what they are looking for? They are looking for a range of production and tell them which location is a good option. So they are not looking for like a single production unit. They are looking at multiple production volumes where different locations might be favorable. So they want in one question, they want an entire answer that, oh, if I'm producing 10,000 units, here I should produce. And if I'm producing 40,000 units, I should produce here. But the problem now is, how do I decide that range, or who decides that range? How do I decide that range? And like I told you, I don't want you to understand that. Just understand the mechanism. After the entire question is done, I will tell you how to decide the range. Right now, you will directly go and check what was the range they have used. But sir, what if the question comes in different values? I will tell you. Right now, just go and check what the range they have used. We are also going to use the same range. Fine. So this is what they've done. They've first written down the total cost, which is true, which I am also going to write for every location. And after that, they have chosen a sales volume for 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 and 25,000. Where did this come from? Like I told you, none of your business right now. Only try and understand what they have done. Why they have done it, I will tell you once the entire question is completed, because then it will be more fun explaining it to you. So what is the range that they have chosen? They have gone from 5,000 up to 25,000 by varying by 5,000 units. Fantastic. I'm also going to do exactly the same. Before doing that, let me write down the total cost of the 3 locations. Let's start with the total cost for Patna. So I'm writing TCP, which means total cost for Patna, is the fixed cost, which is 30 lakh plus 300 into whatever units you decide to make. Then we have the total cost for Ranchi is 50 lakh plus 200 into the number of units you produce, and the total cost for Dhanbad is going to be 25 lakh plus 350 into the number of units that you produce. So what I'm going to do is, for that range, I'm going to find the total cost of production in Patna, the total cost of production in Ranchi, and the total cost of production in Dhanbad. Then I will know for how many units what is a good idea. So what I need is a table to draw all this and write this down. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to draw my table and then come back. So this is my table. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the total cost of all the 3 locations. So total cost of Ranchi. Total cost of Patna is first. Let me write down Patna. Total cost of Patna is 30 lakh plus 300x. Total cost of Ranchi is 50 lakh plus 200x, and total cost of Dhanbad is 25 lakh plus 350 into x. Now in the institute material they have done all 3 together, all 3 separately. I'm not doing that, I'm doing all 3 together in one table itself. So what am I going to do? I'm going to break this down into 2 parts. Correct. This here is going to represent the sales volume. And this here is going to represent the location. And this here is going to represent the volume. What are your volumes? Well, your volumes start from 5,000, but I'm going to start from 0 units. So 0 units, 5,000 units, 10,000 units, 15,000 units, 20,000 units, and 25,000 units. Correct? Locations are, this will be Patna, this will be Ranchi, and this will be Dhanbad. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to directly pick up the values and start calculating. So Patna, Ranchi, Dhanbad. If I'm making 0 units, do you agree there will be no there will be no variable? I will only have to pay fixed, because variable is if you produce you pay, if you don't produce you don't pay. So if you are not producing anything, then it doesn't matter, you only have to pay the fixed. So can I say for 0 units, for all the 3 I will have to pay the fixed? But the problem is, isn't this too much to write? So can we do one thing? Instead of writing it totally, can we change this to lakhs of rupees? If I change that to lakhs of rupees and mention this table that this is total cost in lakhs of rupees. So technically this should be 30 lakhs, no? I'm just going to write down 30. This is 50 lakhs, I'm just going to write down 50. This is 25 lakhs, so I'm just going to write down 25. Let's continue then. For Patna, if I'm making 5,000 units, so the variable cost in Patna is 300. 300 into 5,000 units is 15 lakh plus another 30 lakh is going to be, sorry, that was 1,50,000 is going to be 3 crore 15 lakh and so on. So can I say, if I write that in lakhs of rupees, that is going to become a direct of, I will skip the 5 zeros, so I will be left with 315. So this is going to be 315 lakhs of rupees. Or have I made a mistake? I'm sorry, let me just check it one more time. So it is 300 into 5,000 units is correct, 15 lakh. 15 lakh plus 30,000. Correct? Yes. Is 45 lakh rupees. Sorry. So this is going to be 45 lakh. Sorry. Done. Let me check for 10,000 units. So for 10,000 units, it will be 10,000 into 300 is 3 lakh plus another 3 lakh is going to be 6 lakh. Is that correct? Sorry, what is wrong with me? 300 units, 300 into 5,000 units is going to be, sorry, we are doing 10,000. 300 into 10,000, oh sorry, I think I did 1,000. This is correct now. 10,000 is 30 lakh. 30 lakh plus another 30 lakh is going to be 60 lakh. So this is going to be 60. Do I have to continue? No. If you are smart enough, you don't have to continue. Why? I'll tell you. See, you are increasing the quantity by 5,000, 5,000, and it's a linear curve. So if you understand something, you understand derivatives if you've done it, or if you don't. If you understand something called as rate of change, and the rate of change for a linear curve is always the same. So if for the first 5,000, 30 becomes 45, which means there is an increase of 15. For the next 5,000, there will be another increase of 15. 45 plus 15 is going to become 60. For the next, it's going to be another 15, which will become 75. For the next, it will be another 15, which will become 90. For the next, it will be another 15, which will become 105 lakh. Same here. For 5,000 units, it is going to be 200 into 5,000 is 10 lakh. 10 lakh plus another 50 lakh is going to be 60 lakh. So this is 60 lakh. Now, like I told you, you don't need to, but provided your first calculation is correct, otherwise then you've goofed up the entire thing. If this is wrong, then everything is wrong. So if you think that there is an increment of 10 for every 5,000 units, there is an increment of 10 lakh, then that increment will continue. 60 will become 70, 70 will become 80, 80 will become 90, and 90 will become 100. Let's come to the last one, which is 25 lakh plus 350 into X. So if I'm producing 5,000 units, it is going to be 350 into 5,000 units. So 5,000 is 17,500. 17 lakh 50,000 plus another fixed is 25,000. So the answer is 42 lakh 50,000. So if I have to write that in lakhs of rupees, I can't write it as 42 lakh 50,000. I will have to write it as 42.5 lakh. So check how much did it increment by. 42.5 minus the 25 was an increment of 17.5. So in the 42.5, add the 17.5. What do you get? 60. In that you again add a 17.5. What do you get? 77.5. In that you add another 17.5 is 95. And in that you add another 17.5 and you get 112.5 or 112.5. These were our costs. Let me quickly run you through the institute material costs. All they have done is they have done it in three different places. Like they have drawn three different tables. That is okay. All we care about is the final value. So this is the table for Patna. For Patna, the answers are, they have started with 45 because they've started with 5,000. I have started with 0. So my answer for 0 is, for Patna is 30. Then for 5,000 is 45. Then 60. Then 75. Then 90. And then 105. Now see, if you notice in the table, they have written 45 lakhs. I don't need to write that because in the top of the table I have mentioned that it is total cost in lakhs of rupees. So I don't really need to mention that this is in lakhs of rupees. This was for Patna. You can similarly check for Ranchi and Dhanbad. You will get the same answer that we have gotten. So this is Ranchi. And that is, they don't start with the first, they start with the second. So 60, 70, 80, 90 and 100. Let's last come to Dhanbad. For Dhanbad, it will be 42.5, 60, 77.5, 95 and 112.5. Same. Fantastic. I have a problem. And what is that problem? Now, after this, your institute material very cunningly gives them an answer. Okay. So after the three tables, let me show it to you on a full screen. After the three tables, from God knows where, there is a direct analyzing done and they have an answer. So these were the three tables that were drawn. Patna, there was Ranchi and there was Dhanbad. Agreed. Fantastic. In the above tables, total cost is fixed plus variable cost. This is wrong. Variable cost into the total number of units should have been written. But anyway, if the volume distribution is as follows, then favorable location. For up to 10,000 units, Dhanbad, between 10,000 to 20,000, Patna, and above 20,000, Ranchi. Well, hello. Where is this coming from? How did you draw a table and you are telling me what is a good location? The only analyzing that I can do right now, I will show you. Well, this is the analyzing that I can do. See, if you are not producing anything, then Dhanbad is a good option. So if your product is a seasonal product, there are going to be parts in the year where you will have to shut down and there is not going to be any production. Then you choose Dhanbad because Dhanbad is the lowest fixed. But if you are going to make 5,000 units, choose still Dhanbad. If you are going to make 10,000 units, then choose Patna or Dhanbad. If you notice, both have a good low cost, which is 60. If you are going to choose 15,000 units of production, what is the lowest in the three? 75, which is Patna. If you are going to choose 20,000 units, what is the lowest in the three? Well, now there are two lows, which is 90 and 90. So you either produce in Patna or in Ranchi. Both is a good idea. And when you produce 25,000 units, what is a good option? Well, the lowest that you see amongst the three is Ranchi. So you will say Ranchi is a good option. Yes, but then how do I understand that, oh, from this location, this value to this value produce here, this value to this value produce here? It becomes difficult. And that is my problem with the analysis that they have done. So what they have done in the second part is not wrong. or second part is I agree with you. So the second question is, for a volume of 18,000 units, the location favorable is Patna, which is sustained by the following calculation of total cost. So they calculate Patna for 18,000, Ranchi for 18,000 and Dhanbad for 18,000. Patna works out to be 84 lakh, Ranchi works out to be 86 lakh and Dhanbad works out to be 88 lakh. So what do I say? Oh, the cheapest is Patna, so the answer is Patna. Correct? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to show you a very different analyzing of this. But then what I'm going to show you is never going to be asked in the exam. But I still want to show it to you because in the previous module or in the previous syllabus, this way of analyzing was put through. But then later they just removed that part of the analyzing, which I don't know why, which is very beautiful. I'm going to draw a graph for the given costs. What am I going to do? What I'm going to do is, for these units, these are my total costs. I'm going to show you these total costs on a graph. And we are going to draw cost curves for all three. How are you going to draw it? Well, in my graph sheet, I am going to plot the number of units produced against the cost of production. And I'm going to draw curves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the graph ready and then I'm going to tell you how we are going to go about it. So how am I going to get the graph ready? Number one, horizontally is going to be number of units. What do you want? You want from 0 up till we have taken 25,000 if I'm right. Yes, 0 to 25,000 to fit. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I need 6 values horizontally. Let's check how many centimeters do I have horizontally. I have 19 centimeters. So even if I do 2 units is 5,000 units, I can still fit 25,000 easily. If you do 4 units is 5,000, then you will require 4 into 6. 6 fours is 24 centimeters, which we don't have. So don't do 2 centimeters horizontally. Vertically, right from the lowest, which is I think 25, we need highest, which is 105. So right from 25 to 105, I want all of that. So what if I normally draw it? Well, not possible because you have only vertically, you have 25, 26 units. With 25 units, you can't do that. So what if I do 5 units? Check, no? You want a total of 105? Do 105 divided by 5. Your answer is 21. Do you have 21 units? Yes. I just told you I have 25 units. Fantastic. So horizontally 2 centimeter is going to be 5,000 units and vertically 1 centimeter is going to be 5 units. So I will quickly get the graph ready and get it for you. So I have my sheet ready. I'm going to show you the different parts and then I'm going to unzoom it so that you can see the entire paper. So to begin with, x-axis, y-axis, positive direction x, negative direction x dash. Even though it's not required for me, a graph is very religious, so everything has to be numbered properly. This is the negative direction of the y-axis, so y dash and y. On the x-axis, I'm going to show you how many units I'm producing. So 0, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 and so on. And here I'm going to show you total cost. So here I'm going to write down volume. So this is the volume in which I am producing. Starts right from 0 and goes up till 40,000. And here is the total cost of production. So total cost of production. So this represents the total cost of production. Scale. On the x-axis, 1 centimeter is 5,000 units. So 1 centimeter is 5,000 units. Sorry, 2 centimeters is 5,000 units. While on the y-axis, 1 centimeter is 5 lakh rupees. Correct? So 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 20 lakh, 25, 20, 30 lakh and so on. So 1 centimeter is rupees 5 lakh on the y-axis. Done. Let me unzoom it for you. Let's begin the plotting then. Let's start with Patna. At 0 units, it is 30,000. Fine. So, at 0, the cost is 30,000 rupees. Fine. At 10,000, it is 45 lakh rupees. At 5,000, it is 45 lakh rupees. So at 5,000, it is 45 lakh. So 45 will be here. Next, at 10,000, it is going to be 60 lakh. At 10,000, it is going to be 60 lakh. At 15,000, it is going to be 75 lakh. At 15,000, it is going to be 75 lakh. At 20,000, it is going to be 90, and at 25, it's going to be 105. At 20, it is going to be 90. And at 25, it is going to be 105. Done? 1 minute. This looks like a straight line. Obviously, it will be a straight line. Did you have to plot all of them? You could have plotted any two and draw a line. Everybody would fall there only. You didn't have to do this. So next time, am I going to sit and plot every point? No. They will always and always. It's a linear curve. No, common sense. A linear curve means a straight line curve. Always and always, all the costs will fall in a straight line. So I don't need to do this anymore. This line represents whom? Well, this line represents Patna. Fine then. Let's start with Ranchi. Now, are we going to plot all? No. Pick any two far away, but good points. Good points like easy to plot. So at 0, 50 and at 25,000, 100. Very good to plot. So at 0, it will be 50. And at 25, it is going to be 100. And just draw a straight line through those two. This is going to be Ranchi. Correct? Or I should have drawn Patna here. Wait, let me finish Dhanbad and then decide. Let's come to Dhanbad again. Plot two easy points and finish it off. So at 0, 25 easy to plot. And at 20,000, 95 is easy to plot. So 0, 25, 20, 95. 0, 25. At 20, I am going to do a 95. So this is going to be a 25 to a 95. And this is it. This is the line for Dhanbad. So the first one here is Dhanbad, this is Patna, and this is Ranchi. Now if you ask me to analyze, I will give you a very good analysis. These are cost curves. Cost. The cheaper it is, the better it is. So whichever location shows the lowest line is going to be the best. So if I am not producing, if you notice this line is the best, what is this line for? This line is for Dhanbad. So from 0 right up till 10,000 units. Do you notice that the line for Dhanbad is the lowest? So I am going to say that in this area, what is this area? Don't draw this in your graphs. I am drawing this in mine because I want to show you that in this area, Dhanbad is the lowest. So Dhanbad is the best. What happens at this point? Well, at this point, if you notice, both Dhanbad and Patna are giving you the same cost. Because Dhanbad and Patna meet at this point. Is that right? What happens after that? Well, after that, Dhanbad starts going up. So Dhanbad starts getting expensive. What is the next lower line? Well, the next lower line is Patna. Up till where is Patna lower? Well, Patna is lower up till 20,000 units. So from 10,000 to 20,000 units, Patna is going to be a good idea. And what happens after 20? Well, after 20, Patna becomes very expensive and Ranchi is the lowest line. So Ranchi is the cheapest. So after 20,000, here onwards, up till no end, this is going to be Ranchi. And this is going to be my answer. Let's check if whatever they have written is also the same or not. If it is, then their analysis and our analysis is the same. Here. Up to 10,000 units. Up to 10,000 units, Dhanbad. Perfect. Between 10 to 20,000 units, Patna. Perfect. Between 20,000 to 40,000, 20,000 and above, because there is no stop here, Ranchi. Does it match? Yes. But sir, they have not drawn a graph. I agree with you. Initially, they used to draw a graph. So the old module had a graph in it. The new doesn't. So if the new doesn't, which means they don't want you to draw a graph. If they don't want you to draw a graph, this becomes a little difficult. And sir, I have multiple questions now in my head. Question number 1. Who decides this range? What if, sir, I would have taken as 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 units? What if I would have taken as 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 units? I'll tell you everything. Everything. And sir, third and my last question, which also is very important, is once this range is decided, or I will leave that question for later. So my main question right now is, who decides the range? I agree, I will tell you. My question number 2 is that if we don't draw a graph, how are we going to analyze what they have analyzed without drawing a graph? I will tell you that also. So this is where my question stops. And what I'm going to do now is what you are going to do first. What I'm showing you last is what you are going to do first. And then I will put everything into perspective. I have the 3 costs with me, which is the total cost for Patna, Ranchi, Dhanbad. Step number 1. Write them down and listen properly what I'm saying. Write the 3 costs down in an ascending or descending order with respect to either fixed or variable cost. Understand? Either focused on fixed or focused on variable. Once you focus on either of the two, write them down in either ascending or descending order. Fine, sir. Can I write it in ascending order? Yes. With respect to what? I am using fixed cost. Okay. So the fixed cost in Dhanbad is the lowest. Write that first. So total cost of Dhanbad, or I am writing it here in a bracket. Total cost of Dhanbad is 25 lakh plus 350x. Number 2, total cost of this will be Patna, because Patna is second, 30 lakh plus 300x. And last is total cost of Ranchi, which is 50 lakh plus 200x. So again, write the total cost equations down in an ascending or a descending order with respect to either fixed or variable. So I chose fixed and I wrote them in an ascending order. Done? Fantastic. Step 2. Find the BEP between the first two and the last two. What do you mean by BEP? What I mean by BEP is the break even point. What do you mean by break even? I'm going to do break even ahead also. Break even are of 2 types. There is one break even that helps you decide between profit and loss, and there is one break even that helps you decide between two objects which one is a better cost. So there is no profit involved, there is only cost. And the second one that I am doing, there is profit and loss. So we check up till which point, after which point is there going to be profit, before that there is going to be loss. Here we are doing a cost comparison. How are we going to do that? And that is, I am going to say for a break even point, let's say the total cost between Dhanbad should be equal to the total cost between Patna. Okay, so the total cost of Dhanbad is 25. Let me do a thing, let me zoom in a little. Is 25 lakh plus 350x is equal to 30 lakh plus 300x. Correct? Now I am doing a few steps directly because I want to fit all three break-evens on the same page. I don't want to sit and turn pages later. So I am doing this directly. I hope you understand. 25 lakh goes to the other side and subtracts, becomes 5 lakh. And 300x comes here and subtracts, becomes 50x. So I am directly writing this as 50x is equal to 5 lakh. So x is 5 lakh divided by, can I do it directly? 5 lakh divided by 50, 1010 goes away and 5 ones are. So I am left with 1 and 4 zeros. So can I say 10,000? What does this mean? Well, this means something very simple. That 10,000 units, if you want to produce it in Dhanbad or in Patna. Both will give you the same total cost. Don't believe me? Check. At 10,000 units, do you notice if you produced in Patna or in Dhanbad, both give you the same cost? At 10,000 units, if you produced in Patna or Dhanbad, do you notice both are giving you the same cost? And for both it's lower. If it was higher, I wouldn't consider. It's low, no? So both are giving you the same low fixed cost. Fantastic. Let's move on. The first two break evens is done. Let's come to the next two, which is the break even for the BP. Total cost of Patna should be equal to total cost of Ranchi. And whatever I am doing this is the first thing you are going to do in the question without showing it to them. You don't need to show it to them. This is for us. I will tell you in these 4 to 5 lines, I will give you everything about the cost analysis. But when the question is asked, it is asked between 6 to 10 marks. If for 6 to 10 marks you write this much and come, the teacher is not going to give you anything. And that is why, although our answer will come out of here, you are going to paint the question well and show them that, oh, I've done so much to get you this answer. So the teacher should also feel like, oh, it's worth giving this person 6 or 10 marks, whatever that is. Let's continue. The total cost of Patna is 30 lakh plus 300x should be equal to the total cost at Ranchi, which is 50 lakh plus 200x. Let's start the shift. So 30 lakh goes there, becomes 20 lakh. This comes here and becomes 100. So 100x is, this was, what did I say? 20 lakh. So x is, 2 zeros go away. So it is 2 and 4 zeros. So 20,000. Done? What does this mean? Simple. At 20,000 units, you produce at Patna or Ranchi, both will give you the same cost. Done? I am going to now do my final analysis, which I told you is the most important part, and this will give you all the answers. I am going to draw a horizontal timeline for the number of units. So let me draw this here and then I will start analyzing them. Let me draw it in pencil. Okay. Now this starts from 0 and I'm writing my main points here. I have two main points. One is 10,000 and the other is 20,000. These are my two break evens. Write them down. Let's say this is 10,000 and this is 20,000. What does the break even say? Well, the break even says that at 10,000 units, you either produce at Dhanbad or you produce at Patna, both will give you the same cost. Fantastic. What does this break even say? At 20,000 units, either produce at Patna or produce at Ranchi, both will give you the same low total cost. Arey sir, but this is not what I want. Then what do I do between 0 to 10,000? I will tell you. Between 0 to 10,000, produce at whoever has a lower fixed cost. At 10,000, produce in Dhanbad or Patna, okay. Both will give you the same low fixed cost. Between 0 to 10,000 or at 10,000 Dhanbad or Patna. Before 10,000, the location with a lower fixed. Between Dhanbad and Patna, who has a lower fixed? Dhanbad. Then here you will produce in Dhanbad. Then what happens after 10,000? Well, then there is only one option left, Patna. At break even, both the locations are good. Before break even, lower fixed cost. After break even, higher fixed cost. At 20,000 units, produced at Patna or Ranchi, no problem. But what about before 20,000? Produce at a location which has a lower fixed. Between Patna and Ranchi, who has a lower fixed? Well, between Patna and Ranchi, Patna has a lower fixed. Well, fantastic. I've already written Patna. Because this also told me Patna. Now you are also telling me Patna. Then Patna is the best. What happens after 20,000? If before 20,000 lower fixed cost, after 20,000 higher fixed cost, and that is Ranchi. And this was their final analysis. And that is also going to be our answer. Up to 10,000 units or between 0 to 10,000 units, we produce at Dhanbad. Between 10,000 to 20,000 units, we produce in Patna, and above 20,000 units, we produce in Ranchi. This you are going to do first. So now let me tell you how you are going to solve the question. Let me quickly repeat this once so that I'm sure you understood. What you are going to do is, as soon as you have the question, write down the total costs. After writing down the total cost, write the total cost down in an ascending or a descending order with respect to the fixed or the variable cost. After doing that, choose the first two and the last two, find the break even. The break evens here are 10,000 and 20,000 units. Then what you are going to do is draw a timeline with 10,000 and 20,000 in it. At 10,000, whose break even was this? Dhanbad and Patna. Fantastic. At 20,000, whose break even was this? Patna and Ranchi. So you are going to say at 10,000 units, produce at Dhanbad or Patna. What about before 10,000? Lower fixed cost. Between Dhanbad and Patna, who has a lower fixed cost? Dhanbad, then Dhanbad. After 10,000, higher fixed cost, then Patna. At 20,000, Patna or Ranchi. Before 20,000, Patna. After 20,000, Ranchi. And that's going to be your answer. But are you going to show them any of this? No. Because if the question is asked for 10 marks and you finish it off in this way, they will say, wow, fantastic. But I don't see the need of giving you 6 marks. Because we live in an education system where showing that you know something by a very lengthy method is very important. Anyway, I will tell you what you will do. Number one, you finished finding the break evens, no? And this is your hint. Remember when they asked you for a range of units. So you said, sir, how do we know what the range of units is? Well, this is how you will know what the range of units is. Choose a range that has 10,000 and 20,000 in it. If you choose a range that has 10,000 and 20,000 in it, you will automatically get your break evens. But when we are not going to use it, we are just going to show them that we are using it. So after doing this, we are just going to draw this table and show them, oh, we've used your range and this is the range. And for this range, these are my answers. But are we going to declare? We are not going to use any declaration out of this. This is just for show sake. We are just going to draw this and keep it. All the analyzing is going to come from here. So the moment you find the break even, what if said the break even was 5,000 and 10,000? Well, then I would use a range that would have 5,000 and 10,000 in it. So let's say I would go by a bifurcation of 2,500. Because see, if I use 2,000, no, then 5,000 will not come in it. Although 2,000 would also be a good break. If you use 1,000 also, it's a good idea. So for this, if you would use 1,000, that would go crazy. Because you will need to have 20,000 in it. Do you know how long you will have to go? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. Don't do that. Choose values that will have 10,000 and 20,000 in it, but then they don't go too far. You could have chosen 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 also. But that becomes very short. You could have chosen 2,000 also. So 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, 14,000, 16,000, 18,000, 20,000. But you will have to do 10 calculations. That would again become too much. So you need to be intelligent enough to choose the range of production. Once you've done that, draw this table and show that to them that, sir, oh, this is the table that I'm doing the cost analysis for. And then after doing that, directly write down your declaration. Don't show them what you've done here. This is not required. Having said that, one last question that I told you, a very important question, which I skipped. Sir, what about this 700? Why aren't you using the 700? Well, I'll tell you why I didn't use the 700. 700 was the same for all three locations, correct? Yes. So obviously, no, sales price is same everywhere. Not really. Some products are such that sales price varies from state to state also. I can't think of an example right now, but I think vehicles is something that varies from, from traffic exchange to traffic exchange. Some states have different taxes, but now with SGST, CGST, probably not. But there was a time I remember that cars would be more expensive in Bombay and cheaper outside or something like that. So sales price can vary, but they've given you a fixed sales price of 700. If the sales price is fixed throughout, what difference does it make? This table that I would have drawn would not be total cost in lakhs. It would be profit. You know how I would do that? I would create a profit curve. How would I create a profit curve? This is my total cost. And my sales would be 700 into X, which is for 0 units. My cost would be 30 lakh and my sales would be 0. Then my profit would be minus 30 lakh. Then for 5,000 units, my production cost will be 45 lakh. My profit would be 700 into 5,000. Which is around 35 lakh if I'm correct. From this 35 lakh, remove the 45 lakh, which is your cost of production, which gives you a negative 10 lakh, which means again a loss of another 10 lakh. So I would write down losses here. I would draw a graph for losses and then I would continue. Or you know what I would do? I would create a profit curve. How would I create a profit curve? My profit curve here would be, I'm writing it for you as example. The total profit for Dhanbad would be 700 into X minus the 30 lakh plus 300X, which would be, when 700 enters inside, this becomes negative and 700 minus 300 is 400. So your profit curve would be 400 minus 30 lakh. And now I would start substituting 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 and finding the total profit. Now, if I was doing this a graph based criteria, then highest line would be the best line. But why do this? Like I've told you, your module is very, what do you call it? They call them monotonous. I'm frankly bored of teaching this paper because there's no excitement left anymore. But anyway, your module is very monotonous. They won't change anything. Most of the times they don't even change digits in the question when they ask for a question from the module. So they are not going to change the question in any way. The sales price, which is 700, is the same for all three locations. That is why I don't consider it. And I do a cost based. Wherever the cheapest cost is the highest profit. And now the second thing. Do you notice that they've actually done a calculation for 18,000? Yes. If you notice, they've actually done a calculation for 18,000 units. Is that right? You don't have to. Don't you just draw an analysis and you then wrote down in a table? Then declare here only, 18,000 units. 18,000 comes between 10 to 20,000 units. Then which is the best location? Patna. If they ask you find the cost, then it was different. But then like I said, if this is asked for 10 marks, you have more than 15. I'll do the time analyzing bit also for you. You have more than like 15 minutes to do this question. So then paint it as much as you can, right? Give them as much data and as much analyzing as you can. Well, this is it. I'm quickly going to run through the question one last time. Whenever they give you a question like this, what have they done? There are three locations, Patna, Ranchi and Dhanbad. They have given you the fixed and the variable at these three locations. Always in these questions is the location or the machine or whatever you are choosing with the highest fixed will have the lowest variable, and reverse, with the lowest fixed will have the highest variable. And that is why it's a problem in choosing. If there was a machine with a low fixed and a low variable, then that's the best. Then there is no question. The question only arises when there is a shift. What do is you will stop the question, write down the three total cost, write them down in an ascending or a descending order with respect to either the fixed or the variable, and then find the break even of two at a time. First two, last two. Don't do the first and the last, not required. After having done that, once you've done that, you will get break evens, draw a timeline with the break evens in it. For the break even for Dhanbad and Patna was 10,000. The break even for Patna and Ranchi was 20,000. After doing that, you are going to say that if at 10,000 Dhanbad or Patna is a good option, before 10,000 the location with a lower fixed cost is a good idea, which is Dhanbad. After 10,000, higher fixed cost Patna. Here Patna or Ranchi at 20,000, before 20,000 Patna because lower fixed cost, after Patna then Ranchi. And this, now that you've analyzed it, you've understood everything. Number one, these 10,000 and 20,000 should be in your analysis, and if they have to be in your analysis, you have to choose a range that will have 10,000 and 20,000 in it. And obviously they are 18,000, but that 80,000 will be covered between 10 and 20,000. Once you've chosen a range, draw a table, calculate the total fixed. After calculating the total cost, directly your analysis. Nothing else is required. The solution in the module is also very well written, so you can refer that also as a solution. Thank you very much. This was the only one question in location planning. I will see you in the next session.